Hey, if you already have a business and you're making anywhere from 6 figures to 7 figures, I have an advanced presentation I did for Ty Lopez and his private community of entrepreneurs. Over the last decade, I've known Ty, I've spoken at some of his events and his mastermind events. And so he invited me to speak to a private community that he has filled with entrepreneurs, usually making, 6 figures or more. I came in to advise them on how I have scaled multiple businesses, over 12 different businesses to 7 figures, and three of them to over 8 figures each. That's over $10 million each. This is one of the reasons why I have so many of these awards. And so I wanted to share this private recording with you. If you like content like this, where I can share with you behind the scenes of how I'm growing multiple 7 and 8 figure businesses, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and I'll speak to you soon. Enjoy. Today, I want to share with you guys 4 keys, okay? 4 keys to scaling your business from 0 to 6 figures, then 7 figures. And for some of you who are like ballers, you really want to get scaling, I'm going to show you how to get to 8 figures and beyond. So if you're excited, let's get the show on the road. All right, first and foremost, if I guess a lot of people are new here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just walk you guys through a couple of things before we get into the meat and potato of this. So when I'm sharing this stuff, I try to create a presentation that's literally filled with minute by minute actionable, valuable steps. Okay, so here's what you're going to discover in today's system, today's training material, this masterclass. How to never go another day without sales. How do you do that? What systems do you need so that customers and cash flow is coming to you on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis? How do you get your first $10,000 client? How do you get your first $100,000 client? How do you get your first $1 million client? What's the process? Everything has a process, right? Scaling through funnels. How many of you have heard about funnels? Funnels is the modern way of step-by-step process of turning strangers into customers. You want to write this down. Your ability to turn strangers into customers will determine how much money you make online. It's as simple as that. You know, the people that make the most amount of money, and you can see someone like Ty Lopez, like a Grant Cardone, like a Tony Robbins, they're absolute top geniuses in their field. And the reason is very simple. They've understood the psychology, the mental mindset that's required in order to turn strangers into high ticket customers, strangers into low ticket customers. And I'm going to share with you my master method for getting 100K, 200K clients. And then I'm going to do some bonus Q&A and whatever you'll want. So if this is the first time we're meeting, this is me, Shakir Hussain, founder of funnels.com, wealthacademy.com, and a whole bunch of other cool websites like closes.ai and salestrainings.com. I'm also a big domain collector. That's why I have all these fancy domain names. And I've now helped over 50 millionaire students, and over 10 of my students have surpassed 8 figures and beyond. And I've won all these awards from ClickFunnels. You can see here, I've been invited to speak on colleges, Cambridge University, a bunch of other cool stuff. And really, what really drives me now is how do I take the lessons I've learned? Because these lessons, I didn't get them for free. I actually had to spend and invest a lot of money in myself, okay, a lot of money in myself to figure out insights, strategies, perspectives that can give me a fast track. Does that make sense? Okay, because I realized early on, if I get one insight and I can make an extra 100 grand, well, what if I get like 3 insights and I can make an extra $1 million? Well, what if those 3 insights can help me make an extra million or $5 million or $10 million and beyond? And so for me, the greatest hack more than anything else is literally to find people that have got the results you want, that are doing the stuff that you want to do, and then just paying them. And I didn't have much money when I was growing up. I grew up in a place called East London in the UK, but I found people that were getting results, and I would, get into debt, go into like $40,000 worth of debt. And I got started. And as I started growing and learning, I discovered, hey, if I can, I can spend like years trying to learn stuff by myself, or I can just pay an expert and get the fast track. Does that make sense? And so for me, I was like, and if I talk to a normal person, they'll be like, oh yeah, but they don't have the money. Well, I didn't have the money either. I just found the money. I did whatever I could to get the money. And I'm going to share with you guys a few lessons so that you guys can understand. The first year, I discovered this art and science of something called skill stacking. And you want to write this down. Okay. Skill stacking. What does that mean? You identify what are specialized skills that you can learn that the marketplace will reward you for. If you're a fireman, if you're a police officer, if you're working in a restaurant, if you're an operations officer, if you're I don't know, whatever it is your job right now, there's a good chance the marketplace is paying you, even if you don't like it, the marketplace is paying you what you deserve. Now, if you take your expertise and you turn it into courses, coaching programs, consulting offers, masterminds, agency services, and you position yourself well, then sure, you can start making more money. So when I was about 21 years old, after I didn't invest 750 grand in one go. As I started investing slowly, I discovered, hey, if as I'm growing, I'm stacking skills. And what kind of skills am I stacking? The first year, my online business, the first few months, I probably made like 15 grand. But the first full year of online marketing, I made $120,000 in a single year. I think, 21 years old. And for me, that was like a good start. And the skill I discovered was picking up the phone. Now, today I can speak in front of you and get on camera, get on stage, blah, blah, blah. But when I was 21, I was morbidly obese. I was super fat, long hair, didn't have no confidence. And imagine I'm going around to these American conferences with a name called Shakir Hussein. All right. I remember like the first time I went to, or one of the first time I went to America. I mean, there's stories that goes for days. But bottom line is this: you have to discover specialized skills that the marketplace is going to pay you for. And then you have to custom yourself. You have to go and learn those skills and the systems so that the marketplace can pay you in proportionate to the value that you create. It's really that simple. So the first year, very simple. I learned how to close on the phone. Second skill that I learned the next year was copywriting, and in particular, email copywriting. My second year, I made $275,000. My third year, I was 23 years old, and I made my first $1.2 million in a year, and that was pretty much profit. And I had discovered how to sell on the phone, how to generate leads, and how to do email copy. Okay. And by the time I was 26 years old, I made my first $10 million. And before 30, I'm generating $30 million cash for myself. And I probably spent less than $3 million on paid ads. And that's what pretty much set me up for life. And so the reason why I'm sharing that stuff with you is because this is what I discovered, and these are some of the most valuable lessons I can give you. So let's go. The first C to scaling your mindset, scaling to your business is understanding this concept of you have to first commit. If you don't commit, then you don't have the courage. If you don't have the courage, then you don't develop new skills, new capabilities, and then you don't have confidence. And if you do that, by the way, here's what happens. The more confidence you have, the more bigger commitments that you take, the more bigger commitments that you make, you're going to become a person of high courage. You're going to put yourself out there. You're going to ask for the money. You're not afraid of rejection because you've built courage. That's why I've seen people that will come out of, even, I have students that will come out of prison and then they go out and then they absolutely crush it. They make, 6, 7 figures in sales and beyond. Why? Because they make a commitment to themselves. That's what builds up the courage. So the bigger the commitment, the more courage that you're going to have. A lot of people, they know they should be building personal brands, funnels, offers, charging people more money for offers, getting on the phone to sell high ticket, right? But why is it that they don't do it? It's because, well, number one, they don't commit themselves to it. So ask yourself and challenge yourself, hey, how can I commit myself to just having bigger goals? And the more that you do this, it will lead into you having more courage. The more courage you have, you're going to put yourself out there. The more that you put yourself out there, you're going to get reps in, you're going to get practice, You're going to send emails. You're going to get good at copy. You're going to make videos. You're going to get good at videos. You're going to speak in public. You're going to get good at speaking in public. You're going to pick up the phone to close deals. You're going to get good at it, right? And that's what develops you into someone that has new capabilities. When you have new capabilities, you become magnetic, you become attractive to other people. And when you become attractive, a character that's attractive to other people, they will seek you out and they will throw money at you. Does that make sense? Okay, I can see some of my clients literally just like that are on this call right now. Some of these clients are 30K, 50K clients of mine. And so, and then what happens is after you get new capabilities, you start having new levels of confidence. Okay. And it's like this unstoppable 4 C's. So every time you feel stuck, you're procrastinating, just ask yourself, where am I stuck on the 4 C's? Okay. Was that valuable for you guys? Give me a thumbs up if that was valuable. Because it only cost me $35,000 to learn. Okay. See this gentleman, he's 80 years old. I went to his event. His name is Dan Sullivan. I went to his event. His event was 10 grand. And I remember I I didn't actually buy his ticket, but here's what happened. I actually asked him for a photo and he said to me, "Did you buy my program?" I said, "No." He goes, "Well, if you want a photo, go and buy my program." I was so annoyed that I just went home. Now I want you guys to get this lesson, yeah? I didn't buy nothing at that event. It was at the Four Seasons in London, in central London. So his team called me up and it was a lovely lady. I remember her name, Georgia. And she goes to me, "Hey, did you want to join?" I said, "No, he had this attitude. He didn't give me a picture." And she's like, "Look, he's really sweet, blah, blah, blah. You should just buy this program. You're going to learn a lot." Okay. I said, "All right, fine, 10 grand. I buy it." Then I go to one of the events and I find out he's not there. So I'm thinking, drop 10 grand to meet this 75-year-old dude, and he's not at the event. Then I found out if you want to meet him, you have to pay 25 grand and fly all the way to Toronto. So yeah, I did what I usually do. I dropped 25 grand cash and then I flew to Toronto and I spent 1 day with him. Okay. Now, most of you won't know who this gentleman is, but he's been training and coaching entrepreneurs for, I think now, 45 to 45 to 50 years. That's about 4 to 5 decades. Are you guys getting this? You see how, like, I identify who's got the knowledge, and then I'm like, how do I pay that person to shortcut it? So if I want to learn funnels, if I want to learn paid ads, if I want to learn how to build marketing systems, I'm always seeking who's the best in the world. And boom, I'll go and pay. So I've done this with everyone from Tony Robbins, meeting Richard Branson, Russell Brunson. Get this, guys, okay? And there's, if you can see what the lessons are here, it will really help you shift your mindset. For example, how many of you know Russell Brunson? Who's fans of Russell Brunson here? Raise your hand. Okay, Russell Brunson. I paid him 25 grand. And then I found out I couldn't fly to America at the time. And I didn't want to ask for a refund because that's not cool. So, and I wanted to build a long-term relationship with him. Yeah. And so I couldn't fly to America. I didn't want to ask for a refund. So I said, "Hey, can we have a one-on-one call?" So I get on the call with him. And I kid you not, he asked, there's like 10 other people on the call. And I thought this was supposed to be a one-on-one call. So there's like 10 other people on the call. And he asked me, what are my goals? And, I'm telling him, hey, I've got some money saved up. I want to basically, I've heard of this marketing hack and I want to become a New York Times bestseller, blah, blah, blah. And he goes to me, "You know what? Save your 400 grand because I've spent 400 grand and that whole buying yourself a New York Times bestseller, it doesn't work." And I remember thinking to myself, what? And he called me out because he said, "Why are you trying to become a New York Times bestseller?" I said, "Oh, I want to help people." And you have to understand, I was like 24, 25 years old. And he said, "Well, I think that's basically BS. You just want to impress your friends and family." And I was like, how do you know? He goes, "Well, I tried to do it and it doesn't work." And I remember putting the phone down and I thought, that was the best 25 grand I spent because I immediately saved myself 400 grand. Does that make sense? So you have to ask yourself, you're doing activities, you're spending your life energy, your time. How are you getting the maximum effect, the maximum value for the time that you're spending? So I built a relationship with him And prior to that, he had seen a guy. Anyone know this guy, John Reese? He's long retired now. But John Reese had made $1 million in 2004. Okay. And he was Russell Brunson's mentor. So Russell Brunson comes along and he goes on to make his first $1 million day, I think in 2007. I think he makes like $1 million in a year or something. I see this, I build a relationship with him, right? In 2013, I make my first $1 million. 2022 or 2023, just a couple of years ago, Russell Brunson pays me $1.3 million cash. Okay. All profit, pretty much. $1.3 million cash he pays me, and I sold him a single domain name. Hey, quick little reminder, if you're enjoying this video and maybe you're not at the 6-figure or the 7-figure or the 8-figure level yet, you want to just get to making your first $10,000, $20,000, even $30,000 a month as an expert, as a coach, as a consultant, you want to turn your expertise into an online empire where you can get paid based on selling courses, on coaching programs, on consulting offers to a high ticket audience. What does that mean? It basically means you want to be able to translate whatever you have in your head into selling for high priced products and services online. I'm hosting a 3-day summit, a virtual workshop where you and I are going to be able to talk. I'm going to walk you through the steps that's needed to make an extra $10,000 to $30,000 per month. Even if you're starting from scratch, you don't have an offer yet, you're not famous, or you don't have people that know, like, and trust you just yet. If you'd like to learn more, go ahead to 3daysummit.com or click the link in the description below. Join us for the workshop. I'll speak to you then. And guess how many times I had to message him to sell the domain name? At least maybe 15 to 20 times. So one of the biggest lessons you can learn is once you commit, as I said here, once you commit and you start building courage and confidence, you then have to understand that all the fortune is made in the follow-up. And you want to write this down. It's one of the greatest sales skills I've ever learned. 2 days ago, I got a client, a doctor from UK, and he's bought basically my 120K program where they get one-on-one. I'm like a CMO for their business. Immediately, I looked at their sales process and I saw they follow up 2 times over 2 weeks. I was like, hey guys, 2 times over 2 weeks. I said, no, you need to follow up 6 times a day. 2 times in the morning, 2 times in the afternoon, 2 times in the evening. 6 times a day you follow up until the person says, stop calling me. Okay, most of you, unfortunately, won't even follow up more than 2 times. And you wonder, why is it that you're not making 10 grand a month? Why is it that you're not making 100 grand a month? I've seen businesses go from 10 grand a month overnight to almost 50, 100 grand a month just by increasing their follow-up. And by the way, I didn't just have a relationship with Russell. I cold messaged him on Instagram. And when he didn't respond, guess what I did? I harassed his team. Okay. Like, not in a weird way. You know what I mean? I just found the details and then just hammered them with messages. Okay. So one of the keys for you guys to scale your business is ask yourself, who are your top 10 dream customers that you'd love to serve them? And then get into their neighborhood. Meaning go out and show up to their events. Go and start building networks with them. Go and start getting them on your podcast. If you don't have a podcast, invite them to your friend's podcast. But get into that environment. Environment creates the right energy for you to start doing bigger deals. Okay. So after serving over 1,000 plus clients, this is what I've discovered. Okay. All the businesses that I get involved in now, immediately I turn the traditional websites, the boring brochures online, to a interactive, what I call a friction-free funnel. You want to write this down because I'm going to go into this in a lot more detail. So that was key number 1, is literally, if you don't upgrade your mindset on how you view things, you'll stay stuck. So key number 2 is psychology of offers. and messaging to the market. Who are you? What are you selling? How do you sell it? Can you articulate what you do very simply and easily to your ideal customers? If you don't know how to do that, then what will happen is you will get stuck when someone asks you, what do you do? So you want to practice, and I'm always practicing. People ask me, what do I do? And I think to myself, I do like 5 different things. I do funnels. I have a recruitment agency. I'm trying to scale this business. I own equity in this. I do crypto, blah, blah. And then I think to myself, no, depending on who the person is, just say, hey, I help business owners turn clicks into customers. How? I have a process called the funnels methodology, and we install funnels, sales funnels in people's businesses. Really? How? How does that work? Well, most businesses, they have up and down roller coaster income. Most businesses don't know where their next customer is going to come from. Most businesses rely on referrals and word of mouth. When we come in, we build a predictable customer acquisition system. Oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah, if you want to learn more, here's my site. Go to funnels.com. If you go to funnels.com, I have a video. I give away the entire blueprint. And don't be afraid to give away your best stuff. You want to write this down. All the knowledge and experience and expertise that you have, give it away. Give it all away for free. Don't think that you have some magic formula. Even if you have some magic formula, majority of people, 99% of people just won't do anything. But what you want to do is you want to sell the implementation. You want to sell the accountability, the coaching, the access to you, the access to your systems, the access to your team. That's what makes it valuable. Does that make sense? So you want to ask yourself, how do I always think to myself, how do I give away the stuff other people are paying me for? Literally, 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago, I had a guy who messaged me on Instagram. He said, hey, can I get an hour with you? I said, sure, it's 3,005. It's usually 5 grand. But I met him once, a long time ago at an event. I said, look, just pay me $3,500 and then I'll give you 1 hour of my time. Okay. So he go on. I gave him an hour of my time. I walked him through my master method funnels system. Are you guys following me? Are you guys following me so far? Okay. Today, as I was preparing for this class, I'm putting the slides together because I wanted to present something amazing to you guys. I said to myself, what's something that I can give away that's really valuable? And then I thought, oh yeah, that guy that paid me $3,500 for 1 hour, I want to take some of the best stuff that I did with him, the entire mastermind blueprint, and today I just want to give it to you guys for free. How many of you would like that? Yeah, no strings attached. I'll just show you the whole process. So this is how you want to start shifting your mindset. Then it goes from scarcity to abundance. And that's where all the magic happens. That's where all the big deals are made. That's where you attract all of your ideal prospects. Okay, this is how I'm able to attract clients that will pay 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, even 100, 200 grand to come and work with us. And so why most people fail with their online business, with their websites and their funnels. Okay, you want to write this down. Four ingredients. Let's just break it down to 4 in this part of the system. Okay, offer, packaging, and positioning. Next one is creative. And then what most people blame me on is they think that they're targeting the wrong people or they've hired the wrong agency. But the reality is, if you can dial in the offer packaging, meaning what do you sell? How do you sell it? Do you just sell coaching or do you sell an entire offer? Do you wow your prospects with a mafia offer? An offer that makes them feel like, if I don't get this right now, I'm going to feel stupid. If I don't get this right now, I'm going to be missing out. If I don't get this right now, I would hate my competitors to get this. So you want to dial in your offer, whatever it is that you're selling. You could be selling trinkets, watches, pens. It doesn't matter what you're selling. But how do you take your product and turn it into an offer that's irresistible? And then the second one is creative. And what is a creative? It's the front end ads that you use to attract the right people. Okay. And then the targeting and the agency that you use, that comes afterwards. So I want to share with you what I call the funnels methodology. Okay. And every single time I see for clients funnels that win and funnels that don't win, there's a few things in particular that makes sense. And I created this 7-step system so that every single funnel that I work with, it has to hit these things. You guys ready for this? By the way, this is not something I just read in a book or just Googled my way. Okay. This is after building over 1,000 sales funnels. So I can look at an offer, look at someone's business, and immediately say, that sucks, that sucks, that sucks. Here's 5 things you need to do. Boom, it's going to increase your conversions. Are you guys with me so far? Okay. And after doing this, basically like 1,000+ times, okay, this is what I figured out. The 7 steps. So I'm going to walk you guys through it. Funnels methodology. Number 1, finding your niche. You got to identify who is that ideal prospect that you want to target, that you want to work with, and who has not just who is it that you want to help, but who also has the money that they can comfortably afford to pay you. Does that make sense? So you want to identify a niche, and there's 3 keys that I like. Okay, I always like to work with steps and keys and whatever, but there's 3 basically levers. First one is, are they easy to reach? If you tell me I have to run newspaper ads, I have to meet people in person, I'm not about that life. Okay, it's not for me. I want to place tiny little ads all over the internet, and I need to have lots of people coming to me. I want lots of traffic, online traffic, global traffic coming to me. Okay. So first one is, are they easy to target? Number 2, do they have an irrational passion or a fear? Okay. Do they have some sort of irrational passion, fear, goals? Do they have something that's big dreaming? That they big, they think big, they dream big. And the last one, probably the most important one, are they willing and able to pay a premium for your products and services? Okay. For example, if I was selling pens, okay, I wouldn't ever get into this sort of business. But a pen, you could sell it for, this is like a $2 pen. This could be maybe a $500 Mont Blanc pen. Do you want to sell pens for $500, or do you want to sell pens for $2? Because there's a market for both, right? So you have to identify, hey, which is a market that I want to go and serve based on your expertise, your experience, the mistakes that you've made. I was on a phone last week with one of my clients. He's an addiction coach. Okay. So basically, someone that helps men get over alcohol addiction. Okay. I didn't even know it was such a lucrative niche. I'm a Muslim, man. So I don't drink, I don't do drugs. And so I had zero idea how this works. Okay. And my client is telling me that he was charging £60,000 to help this gentleman get off alcohol. And I'm like, that's insane. 60 G's, £60,000. Okay. Imagine one client paying him £60,000. And then he followed up with, he said, Shakir, this is a huge problem people have. I said, I have no idea. He said, people are addicted to drinking alcohol. I said, okay, well, good for you. I mean, he's one of my clients, so I'm helping him basically tap into that industry to help people that are drug addicts and alcohol addicts to get off. So has he found a good niche for himself? Absolutely. Okay. Now, I'll give you this. When I first started working with him, he was telling me that he wants to help everyone get off alcohol. He wants to help the girl. He said to, and he's a good looking dude, So he's like, the girls love me, man. And I want to help the girls get off. And I said, he said, what? He goes, any age, I'll deal with anyone. And I said, look, when you're starting off, it's super important to work with a ideal target market. You don't want to go and help everyone. I said, so you're just gonna, you want to help 18-year-old girls? He's like, well, I'm ready to help anyone. The thing is, if he's selling a program for 20,000 to 60,000 pounds, helping his clients get off alcohol, most 18 and 20-year-olds won't have that. Does that make sense? So I was like, you have to understand your dream prospect's pain, and then you have to nail down the messaging. So instead of saying, hey, I'm going to help everyone quit alcohol, what if you just said, I help CEOs and fast growth business leaders in Europe, in UK, remove alcohol from their life? Do you see how that's much more niche down? Are you guys getting this? Is this making sense? If this is making sense, quickly just type into the chat box, this is making sense. I'd like to just see a handful of people saying this is making sense. So go ahead right now, just type in, this is making sense. If this is valuable stuff, just let me know. Okay, go in and just comment the word valuable. If this is valuable, okay, if you guys are getting this, okay. So next thing, where was I? Let me just see your comments. Okay, I see lots of comments. Oh, wow. Okay, making sense. Cool. Valuable. Okay, this is making a lot of sense. Okay, cool. I like it. So, ideally, the way you want to work on this is you want to ask yourself, hey, just so I know, can everyone see my screen? Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen, please. Okay, cool. So, understanding your prospects' pain points. Look, first you find a niche, and one of the best actions and activities you can do is just ask yourself, if you was talking to your younger self, how many of you have made mistakes 5, 10, 20 years ago? You know what I'm talking about. How many of you wish, man, I wish I had a mentor when I was like 5, 10, 20 years younger? And so think to yourself, if you are giving advice to your younger self, that's the niche that you want to start with. Does that make sense? And then you want to ask yourself, hey, if I want to help younger men, now for example, I want to help younger men, but my, products and funnels, they're not cheap, right? They're not like a $500 course. They're expensive, $10,000 plus. So do I want to help 20-year-old kids, or my target market starts at 35? Because at that stage, I know someone has the money to invest in themselves and they're serious about starting and scaling a business. Does that make sense? So you don't have to be like, oh yeah, I want to help the younger me if it's the wrong type of prospect. And it's your business. You get to choose. Same way I get to choose who I work with, who I don't work with. So finding your niche. Number two, understanding your prospects' pain points. Look, if you don't understand the pain somebody goes through, then it's going to be hard for you to sell them. It's going to be hard for you to connect with them. And it's going to be hard for them to feel like they feel understood. Prospects buy when they feel understood. Does that make sense? If one of the reasons, if you think to yourself, man, why is no one buying my stuff? Why is it that people come to your website, they interact with you on social media, they check you out on Facebook and Instagram, but why are they not pulling out their credit card and giving you money? Why? It's because the know, like, and trust factor is not there. And one of the ways that you increase your know, like, and trust factor is by you sharing your story, you sharing lessons, secrets, experiences, mistakes that you've gone through, which makes the prospect feel like, oh my gosh, that's my guy. He understands my pain points. Okay. Number three is nailing your messaging. Number four, niching down on your perfect client customer avatar. Number four, engaging your perfect customer. So an example of engaging is something like this. You could do a webinar, a challenge. You could go Instagram live, Facebook live. You can make YouTube videos. This is you engaging your perfect client customers. Okay. L stands for leveraging tech automation. And people get stuck on this. So I'm going to give you a little hack. I'll give you a first breakthrough. Okay. So I've shared with you guys that I own funnels.com. We've built over 1,000 funnels. Yes, yes, or yes. Yeah. Okay. Now here's the kicker. Guys, in the last 15 years, from start to end, I've never ever built a funnel myself. Can anyone say wow? Okay. I have zero idea on building a funnel, doing graphics, doing tech. But I've got $1 million funnels right now. I charge people $10,000 plus for a single funnel. I've built over 1,000 funnels for my clients and whatnot, but I've never built an actual funnel. So the hack I learned a long time ago is this: it's who, not how. You want to ask yourself this one question. This unlocks so much scale and freedom in your mind. You get stuck with tech. Instead of you trying to learn how to do it, you ask yourself, who can I go and hire that can come and help me? Who, not how. Number S, the final one, is structuring your offers. What kind of offers do you have? So I'm going to walk you guys through some of the stuff that I do. Okay. So anytime I come up with a sales presentation, this is the formula that I use. And this is essentially who, what, why, when, how, next step. So I'll say something like, hey, who? I'm looking for business owners. What can I sell them that are struggling in their business to get customers? What am I offering? I'm offering done for you funnels and a content flywheel system. Why? Because getting customers is hard. I make it easier. When? You want to start now. If you delay this, you're only delaying your time. And you and I are not getting any younger. So now is the time. How do I get started? Here's the next steps. So in every single sales formula, this is the method that I use. Who, what, why, when, how. Here's the next step. Okay. So if you see on my sales page, I'm like, here's what we do. Here's why we can help you. Here's how it works. Here's what happens on the call. Okay. And every single time you've seen me do this, even doing this presentation, I'll say stuff like, here's 3 steps, here's 4 steps, here's 7 steps. Sometimes I'll have, my own version of a 67th step. Okay. And I'll go through, and I'm actually going to show you one of the more advanced models I have. But let's just say I'll say, hey, here's 4 steps. These are the 4 things that you need to get high paying clients. You need a VSL, you need funnels, you need traffic, and what else do you need? You need leads on demand. Okay. So you need traffic, funnels, copy, and a VSL. 4 things. Hey, if you like these 4 things, then go ahead, book a call with me. I'll say go to funnels.com, go check my website out. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is what we call the value ladder. Okay, and this is my own one. You can create your own one as well. And you can start off with maybe just 1 or 2 products. Okay, but I'm going to give you guys, again, like I said, I'm going to go newbie to advanced. Yeah, this is some of the more advanced stuff. I covered the newbie stuff. This is the more advanced stuff. So a value ladder is essentially, for example, if you go to something like McDonald's, you shouldn't really go there because they don't really sell real food, but whatever. Okay, and you're buying like a burger. Okay, a fake burger, whatever they sell, fake food in there. They buy a burger, and then they ask you, do you want fries? Do you want a drink? Do you want to have whatever else? They're always trying to upsell you after they've offered you their main thing. And so when people are coming to you, do you have multiple products and services? Can you create multiple products and services? Someone will come in and maybe say, buy a coaching call with you. Can you add a funnel service? Can you add a design service? Can you add, their social media setup for them and charge them an extra $300, an extra $500? And if they're a big business owner, design service, can you add? Then you can basically turn around and say, you want to charge maybe $1,000, even $5,000. Does that make sense? So if you can change the selling environment from, say, in-person, virtual to a group session, you can also start charging higher prices. So this is an example of a playbook that we have. that we give away a free playbook, which is, and today with ChatGPT, you could literally write one of these, in like less than an hour, 10, 20 pages of high value. And then we'll say, hey, you like the report? The report is free. If you'd like our help, you could go to Funnels Agency. What's up, Ty? I just saw Ty join.
Yo, how are you?
What's up? It's funny because I don't know if you were on the call. Hey, man, I see you. How are you,
Yeah,
bro?
there we go. Yeah. If
That's
you
so
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's funny because Ty decided to join exactly when I'm showing off Funnels Agency. Okay. And I remember a while ago, he had made this YouTube video. Okay. He had made this YouTube video with this guy called Alex. And they were talking about, like, hey guys, like the future is people that basically build like funnels and something like around a funnels agency or something. Okay. And I remember like watching that YouTube video, going to like GoDaddy, spending $10, $20 on this domain called funnelsagency.com. And I launched that. And that business took off. As I was telling Type just before you, we've sold over 1,000 funnels now to over
Wow.
the last, I don't know, 5, 10 years, basically over the last decade or so. And the craziest thing is, I still don't know how to build a funnel from start to.
Yeah.
I still, and when I paid a gentleman, Dan Sullivan, $35,000. One of the lessons he had taught me was entrepreneurs get stuck, and one of the fastest ways to get unstuck is simply asking who, not how. Who is the
Yeah.
person that can? So, when I'm building the funnels for clients, I've literally got a team now, and they go out and they build this stuff. So, ask yourself when you get stuck next time, who, not how. Who can you bring on your team that can help you? Okay, next key. And this is something I learned from a gentleman called Perry Marshall. Okay, and he was talking about this concept of, before I knew anyone else talking about this and popularizing it. How do you do high leverage activities? Okay, what's a $10 per hour activity versus $1,000 per hour activity? And understanding these mindsets of speed of implementation, who, not how, launching a business or a product, even if it's not perfect. And this is a mentality that even now I have as well, which is, hey, if I launch something, the first version is not going to be perfect, and it's okay. Nobody's going to complain if I've got typos and errors, and what that usually does, it gets me out of my head. Does that make sense? And if you're in your head, you're dead. If you're in your head, you're not really doing stuff. And one of the best ways to overcome that is, for me anyway, this is what I'm sharing, all the stuff that works for me, is I'll just tell myself, hey, I have to do this thing 5 times. Okay. Like when I'm doing these slides and I'm creating these slides, some of them I'm taking from my other presentations, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to make sure like this is super valuable for everyone that's watching. I'm asking the team, hey, is it like, what level are these entrepreneurs at? Because I want to give you guys the most amount of value. And then I could find myself, I'm like trying to perfect every single little slide. And then I'm like, let me just get on with it and then just give as much value as possible. Okay. So every single time you get stuck, tell yourself progress over perfectionism, scaling with divisions in mind. Anytime I want to scale, I ask myself, okay, instead of trying to scale the whole business, how do I scale marketing, sales systems, customer support one by one? And then hitting one home run. I always have this in my head, which is anytime I want to launch a product or a service, minimum viable product. How do I just launch something so I can get my first 10 or my first 100 customers and then focus on my 1,000 true fans? Does that make sense? Okay. And then getting out of glorified procrastination. So, one of the things I always tell myself to do is, my current income is a reflection of my identity. So, how do I change my identity on an ongoing basis? How do I change the habits, the routines, the beliefs, the people that I'm surrounding myself with? And then this helps me create a different level of identity. And those identity shifts make it easier for me to do certain things. Okay. So this is a sheet. You guys can take a screenshot and you can tweak this however you like. You can actually download this on 8020secrets.com. Okay, there's nothing to sell on this, but you can basically go and download this document. There you go, on that site, 8020secrets.com. It's just going to open up a Google Doc, and you guys can basically make a copy and just kind of tweak your own things. You know, what's going to pay you $10 to $20 an hour, and what's going to pay you $1,000 an hour, what's going to pay you $10,000 an hour. I promise, if you can do this activity, it will dramatically shift what you do on a day-to-day basis. Okay, how many of you like wasting a little bit too much time scrolling on social media? Well, guess what happens? Okay, some of you are smiling because you know that's you. I guess what happens when you do this activity, you immediately tell yourself, hey, this is a low leverage activity. How do I do a higher level activity? Okay. All right, next one. Key number 4, linchpin funnels and the master method. And this is basically what clients will pay 50K, 120K for. I want to walk you guys through this. So I first got this model from my friend Russell. He basically launched ClickFunnels and he scaled to 9 figures. Okay, he scaled to $100 million a year, and he basically crafted this entire system which looks like this. Okay, now this is real advanced stuff. I wouldn't recommend you guys do this until you're making at least, I'd say, 500K to $1 million a year. But some people have said here that they're making $1 million, they're making 8 figures. So for you, this would be absolutely perfect. And this will help you streamline your offers and what you sell. So if you see Russell, what he did is he grew from 10 million to 30 million, all the way up to 100 million plus. And he had basically his front end books that then sold into his ClickFunnels software. Okay, and this was the model that he used. And then you saw Alex Samosi. He's got a similar model, and he's also used this too. And then, so for example, this is my core offer. You all have to want to have a high ticket core offer. What's a high ticket core offer? An offer that's at least, write this down, $3,000 to $10,000. Okay, look, the math is very simple. You can make $10,000 a month selling $100 items, and you have to sell 100 people. You know how hard that is? Okay, or you could just sell 2 people at 5 grand each. Who's going to give you 5 grand, especially when you're a newbie? The person that has that money. Who's that person that has that money? Business owners. Okay, this should be your number one target market. You want to get into, I was going to say you want to get in bed with business owners, but you want to get into the pockets of business owners. Business owners, let's just say a business owner making $1 million a year, they will naturally have at least 100K to 300K that they will spend on advertising, on marketing. You want to go and get a piece of that. Does that make sense? So you want to have one core product that you sell. And I would recommend you charge minimum 3 grand and up to 10 grand if you're a newbie. You don't want to sell anything less than that because the hard, I've done this like 1,000 times with clients. This is what I found. If you charge anything less, it's hard for you to get traction. It's hard for you to stay motivated. If you charge, try to charge like 25 grand and you're a complete newbie and you don't have like selling experience, copywriting experience, webinar experience, speaking to sell, speaking to present, speaking to persuade and influence, then you're just going to get hit and then boom, like your confidence gets shattered. Does that make sense? And so what we want to do is have one core product, whatever it is that you want to sell. So for me, my one will start off from 10K to 18K, and it's basically what we call an accelerator program. And you can come up with, for 3 grand, you're going to come up with an accelerator program. For 5 grand, you're going to come up with a VIP program. For 10 grand, you're going to come up with a diamond program. And you can basically figure out, as your prospects pay you more money, what can you offer to them? Does this make sense, everyone? If this is making sense, quickly just type into the chat box, it's making sense. So let's just say you are selling, Facebook ad services for $3,000 a month, okay, which is very doable to do. But now you turn around to the business owner and you say, hey man, like your YouTube sucks. I can help you with the thumbnails. I can come up with scripts, go to ChatGPT, come up with scripts, give it to your customer and say, for an extra $2,000 a month, I'll help you with YouTube. YouTube is all the rage right now. Everyone needs to have a personal brand, blah, blah, blah. So now you can start charging them 5 grand a month. Okay. And then you can basically say, hey, you know what? I realize your website is outdated. You need to have some sort of funnel. Okay. You need to have some sort of high converting funnel. Okay. If you pay me 5 grand, I can basically build one out for you. Does that make sense? So now you just went from like charging 3 grand for Facebook ads to having multiple offers. Okay. So this is my, again, exactly what I just shared with you guys. We will have like always 3 programs. Why do we have 3 programs? Because it helps us anchor the next one. Okay. It helps us anchor the next one. So for example, gold is 10K, platinum, titanium. Let's just say these programs will go from 10 to 30K. But at the highest level, I'll have like a 120K program. Does that make sense? This is for people that are like really wanting to scale. And let's just say, I've seen even Ty do it, right? Ty will say he's got $1 million program, and I'm sure he's got clients that have paid him $1 million. Tony Robbins also has clients that have paid him $1 million. Now, here's what happens when you have a really high, extremely high price on your product and your prospects know about it. Everything else becomes cheap. Does that make sense? Okay. Everything else becomes cheap. You could even turn around. If you're charging 3 grand a month for Facebook ads, you could turn around to the business owner and say, you know, I have an offer which is 36, $72,000. Business owner's like, what the heck do you, and you're like, yeah, I can do your Facebook ads for you for the next 2 years for $72,000. Or you could just pay me 3 grand a month and I can start with that. Okay, but do you see the price anchoring? People are like, whoa, like he just quoted me 72 grand. Okay, he must be good. If he's gonna charge me that much, okay, obviously you should be able to deliver and all of that. That goes without saying. Okay, 72 grand. Now you drop it down to 3 grand. The prospect now thinks, okay, I'll start off with the 3K. And then you can turn around and say, hey, that's 3 grand a month. So 6 months is 18K. But if you pay up front, I'll do it for 15 grand. Are you guys seeing this? Is this making sense to you guys? This is what it takes, guys, to win. This is what all of the top people are doing. So this is an example of my own personal linchpin. I'm just going to really quickly walk you guys through it. But essentially, on the left-hand side, you can see this is where the social media, branding, Instagram, Facebook, all of these things are. Okay. And I'm actually not on Snapchat and I don't even use Twitter much or LinkedIn, but mainly YouTube and Instagram. Okay. And then I basically spend money on traffic. So that's my social media thing. When people come in, these are some of the funnels I walk people through. So I walked you guys through basically what we call the call funnel, you know, the 7 steps. This is where people come in, they see how, you know, they want to get a funnel, they want to work with us, they book a phone call, my team or I will speak to them, and then they will basically buy our products and services. Okay. So that's basically the main funnels agency on funnels.com. Now, what happens is, a lot of people naturally they won't just come and spend $10 or $20,000 on a funnel. Okay, so what do? We educate them. How do we educate them? We do something called a 5-day challenge. Does that make sense? And I'll walk you guys through what this looks like right now. So, and you guys can go check it out as well. So then, you know, this stuff looks like it's, so I'm just going to go over here. Okay, so okay, so this is the funnels.com. So this is that funnel where people will come in, they'll watch a video. So they'll go to funnels.com, they watch a video. As I basically say, here's my 4-step system, spine chilling ROI system, you know, to grow to 100 grand a month, become an authority. There's some social proof and credibility of lots of awards, all of that good stuff. I'm basically saying, hey, this is exactly what you're going to learn. I'm giving a big free MIFGI. MIFGI stands for most incredible free gift ever. So one of the things that we do is we give away something called a free ROI funnels assessment. Okay. And basically we position it as identify which funnels you will need to grow your business in 2025. I have literally been running the same thing for years and years, maybe for the last 5 or 6 years. And all I do is I just come in here, and I'm not kidding, I just changed the date from 2020, 2021 to now. I just changed it the other day to 2025. Okay, why? Because I know this MIFGI stands for most incredible free gift ever. This just converts. Are you guys getting this? Is this making sense? Okay, so in your business, ask yourself, what can I give away that's insanely valuable? What is a incredible free gift that I can give away? And you can, give it away for free like I do. Or what you can do is something called a 5-day challenge. Okay, so this is, if you go to 5daychallenge.co, by the way, this is exactly what I'm doing, right? So I'm just showing you guys the personal linchpin here. Okay, so right now I'm showing you guys this one. Okay, I'm just going to make the arrow bigger here so that you guys can see. Okay, this is the 5-day challenge. What is the 5-day challenge? Instead, do this. Okay, so this 5-day challenge, piggyback. This 5-day challenge is a free 5 to 10 hour crash course. Okay, how many of you how many of you have experience that you can teach other people what you know? Okay, so imagine you take what you know and then you break it down in 5 segments. So let's just say you were teaching, I don't know, you were teaching like men how to lose weight or something. Okay, like busy CEOs had to lose 10 pounds in the next 30 days. Okay, what are the 5 steps that you would help them? Step 1, fix their sleep, fix their nutrition, get into the gym. Okay, step 2, you could be like, drink water every time you're hungry. Step 3, make sure you're lifting heavy weights. And here's the top 5 exercises to do. Step 4, go into the sauna, detox yourself, cleanse your body out. Okay. And typically, most men would lose at least 10 pounds if they just do those things, right? Increase your protein intake to, 150 to 200 grams a day, blah, blah, blah. Here's 5 steps. And then all you do is you teach one concept over each day. Okay. I have done over 15 challenges and virtual summits. Now, the first one I did it during COVID, okay? And I was thinking, dang, is this thing gonna work? I don't know. I don't want to do something low ticket. And we spent $5,000. Okay, how many of you can afford to spend 5 grand on ads? We spent 5 grand on ads. I had 200 customers come in. They paid like $47 for this challenge. At the end, during the challenge, we had about 120-ish people show up live. And then we collected over $450,000 cash. So I spent 5 grand and I made 450 grand back, cash collected. Okay. When something works, you double down. So that's why almost every single month, okay, my team will do a challenge. I'll do the challenge. Are you guys getting this? You find what's working and you double down on it. Okay. I would do a challenge almost every single month. Next month I'm not doing one. It's Ramadan. I'm gonna be fasting for 30 days, and I really don't feel like doing a challenge. Okay, but other than that, I'm usually doing these 5-day challenges. Are you guys getting this? Now there are some people, they don't want to hear about your 5-day challenge. They're busy. They ain't gonna give you 1 or 2 hours a day. That's fine. That's why we have the next one, which is called the 3-day summit. You want to write this down. Okay, so the 5-day challenge, then the 3-day summit. Now, this is the 5-day challenge one, and you guys can see this. You can see how it works. 5daychallenge.co. The 3-day summit, just gonna go to it. It's on 3daysummit.com. And what's a 3-day summit? I'm taking literally what I teach in the 5-day challenge. I'm compressing it. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm compressing it into 3 days. Okay. So it's pretty much the same content, but I just know there's a lot of people when they hear 5 day, they're like, I don't want to spend 5 days with you. That's fine. Then I'll say, hey, you want to spend 3 days with me? Okay. And even if they don't spend 3 days with me, then I'll say, do you want to spend 1 hour with me? And then I'll send them to my webinar funnel. Okay. But my 3 day summit, this is how it works. Okay. So this one is not free. This one will charge like $47. Why do you want to charge something at least? You want to write this down. Okay. It pre-qualifies serious people. Okay. You rather have 100 customers than 1,000 freebie seekers. Are you guys getting this? Okay. If it's making sense, give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Okay. So, next thing, this is how this funnel works. All right. For business owners, I'm calling out business owners that want to get 10 to 30 high ticket clients every single
I want to
month.
show you a proven system that has helped me generate literally tens of millions of dollars before I just turned 30 years old. Now, this is the first time in 15 years.
And then, so what I'm doing here is I'm just telling people, hey, if you want to learn blah, 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 you know, you want to learn how to build a business, get customers chasing you so you don't have to chase people. I can help you. I've been doing this stuff all over the world. And now I'm not doing it in person, but guess what I'm doing? I'm doing it online. Do you want to learn online? And if you want to learn, it's $47. And here's what you're going to get. Okay. The script is very simple. It's all the same thing. Here's what I've got. Here's what it will do for you. And here's what to do next. How many of you get stuck when you're trying to sell stuff? Okay. When you feel that way, all you have to do is just go back to this formula. Here's what I've got. Here's what it will do for you. Here's what to do next. Okay. You want to write this down. So, for example, if I was offering this 3 day virtual summit, I'd say, hey, everyone, if you're stuck trying to get new clients coming to you, here's what I've got. I'm hosting a 3 day virtual summit. Here's what I've got for you. Then I'll say, here's what it will do for you. If you attend this 3 day virtual event, I'm going to show you over 3 days how to set up your online business, get it to $10,000, $50,000 a month using the power of funnels. And then on day 2, I'm going to show you how to get lots of traffic. And then on day 3, I'm going to show you how to scale it up so that once you set up, you can make passive income, selling courses, selling coaching programs, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Is this making sense, everyone? All right. Are you guys getting this? Yes. And then I'd say, if you like what you see, here's what to do next. So here's what I've got. Here's what it will do for you. Here's what to do next. So I also know that if people pay, they pay attention. So, you know, they can read all of this stuff. This is a long form sales page. So there's a lot of stuff to read. And we have 2 options. Okay, $47 and $297. What do they get for $297? They get an hour, a group coaching session with me. And let's just say 100 people buy this $47 thing, $47 ticket. Probably at least 10 to 20% of people will buy the $297. Are you guys getting this? So we scroll down, they see a bunch of testimonials, and then I have written down what they're going to get for those 3 days. And this is the whole breakdown. So give me a second. Okay, and then I have like a VIP members bonus, some testimonials before the challenge, after the challenge. Those images need to be changed. But anyway, okay, scroll down. There's a whole long sales copy. So this is, remember what I said when we first started? You want to learn how to write high converting, compelling sales copy that turns strangers into customers. This will determine by a long shot how much money you're able to make. So I've shared with you the 5-day challenge. I've shared with you the 3-day summit. And all of these things, what do? They go in to selling my core offer. Does that make sense, everyone? You have to have something that's a core offer. And this is basically what it looks like. So when a client is paying me, $3,500 an hour, this is one of the first things I'll help them do. I'll help them craft a funnel that gets them core sales, which is usually their back-end sales. Hey, Antonio, by the way, was this valuable so far, you guys? Just type into the chat box if this is valuable so I can see if you guys enjoyed it. If you're falling asleep, I'll just stop. Okay, let me know if this was valuable. Yes. Okay, dokie. All right. Omar Masadi, what's up? I see some of my clients here. Two. Okay, dokie. All right. Hey, and is Antonio still here?
Yes,
What's up, brother?
we're just enjoying your amazing presentation.
Well, at least there's one person. Thanks. Thanks for the vote of confidence.
And no,
Hey,
everybody's enjoying. We just do keep everybody else muted in this calls, but yeah, I see the chat is just like going crazy.
okay. I can't see anything just yet, do I? Oh yeah. Okay. On the okay, I see. All right. Tom says he's taking so many notes. Okay, good. So do you guys want me to like show some more advanced stuff, or like are you guys like you're like, whoa, I've taken enough enough for one night. Nah, I mean I can stop. I'm fine, guys. I'm fine to stop. I'm fine to also keep going because I did have a few more things. But I need to know like if they want advanced stuff, Antonio, then I'll show them like real advanced stuff, you know?
We would love to see it. I see everybody just saying, yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, how many of you guys would like to see it more advanced stuff? Just give me a thumbs up or something. Okay. All right. I see. Okay, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Ladies as well. I'm not gonna forget the ladies when I say guys. Okay. Like I'm British, so you'll have to do. So what I'm gonna share with you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let me share with you one or two more things, and then I'll go into the real advanced stuff. Okay. So this is in my own business, this is how I'm scaling. Okay, how I'm scaling, because there's only so much hard work you can do. How many of you have realized that? You're like, man, hey, there's social media, there's Instagram, there's bloody YouTube, there's just so much I have to do. How many of you feel like that? You know, and then every single week there's something new that's coming out. So one of the greatest hacks is being able to partner up with other people that have your target market, your target customers. Okay, this is something that I promise once you learn how to do, this changes the game forever. Okay, I do this in my business all the time. And instead of getting one or two customers, I'll figure out, hey, how do I tap into someone else's database? Okay. And when I can tap into someone else's database, how do I then pay them to advertise my products and services? Okay. How many of you would love to learn that? And you can do this for like $100. Anyone? Only 3 people? Okay, I'm going to do it for only the 3 people that put their hand up. All right. So you summarize your entire offer on a Google Doc, because here's what we've realized. You could literally, after you summarize, imagine this was my offer. Okay. I will then take this offer and then just share it, share the doc, boom. And what I'll do is I would then go and if someone was interested on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, instead of sending them through a funnel, I'll just send them straight to the Google Doc. Okay, this is one of the most powerful things that's working right now. I don't know how long it's going to keep working, but essentially, let me ask you this. How many of you have something to sell right now? Just by a show of hands, or just type into the chat box, yes. How many of you have something to sell? Okay. How many of you have your offer written on a plain, boring Google Doc? By a show of hands. Okay. Probably less than 1%. Let me see if there's anyone there. Okay, I have it written. Like, okay, Omar, he's one of my clients. He says yes. There's probably like less than 10 people realistically that have this. Why do you want to do this? Because some people, they're still so new to social media, to funnels. If you just send them a Google Doc, they'll come in and buy. Are you guys getting this? Okay. Last week, guys, last week or last month, I had a guy come in. He bought my 120 grand one-on-one consulting program. Okay. This is basically where they get to talk to me for, a couple of times a month. It's 120 grand for the year. I asked him, my team will set up your Instagram. He replied to me in this language, I don't have that shit, bro. You deal with it. Do you guys get that? I was like, whoa, can you set one up? He's like, I don't know how to set an Instagram profile. Can you and your team just do that? My brain was blown away. Are you guys getting this? What does that mean? I'll tell you what that means. Every single one of you listening and watching this right now, you're already ahead of the average people by 5 to 10 years. Trust me, even if you have 100, 1,000, 10,000 followers on Instagram, you're so ahead. The majority of business owners still have no idea. Think about what I just told you. The guy came in for my 120 grand program. It's almost like he's telling me off just because I asked him, what's your Instagram profile? Okay, I think he has a LinkedIn profile, but do you guys see there's so much opportunity here? Yes or no? So the only thing that you have to start thinking about is, where is that opportunity? For example, I'll give you another example. 2 or 3 days ago, a doctor comes in. He buys my 120K program, 120,000 pounds. Again, same thing, 12 months. I'm like the CMO. I basically help them, XYZ. The guy has not uploaded a video on YouTube in maybe 3 or 4 years. When I explained to him, my friend, I didn't call him my friend. I was trying to be real professional and stuff. Okay. There was a girl, then I would say, I don't know what to say, but I said, where's your social media presence? He goes, oh, no. We just spend money and get an ROI. I'm like, what about your Instagram? He's like, I don't know if like this will work for Instagram, my business. So he's a specific type of doctor. I won't kind of go into the details of it. So, but he basically works with animals. Okay. So I said, listen, doctor, let me show you who else is doing well on Instagram. So I go find another doctor that works with, animals, and they've got 250,000 followers. You should have seen this guy's face just drop. Because I'm like, wow, you're running a multi-million pound business and you don't have Instagram, you don't have YouTube. I'm like, this is the easiest sale ever. Because if I just add Instagram and YouTube, is he going to make more money? Yes or no? Because that's where the customers are. Does that make sense? And this is what your prospects, when you're trying to sell services, it doesn't matter what you're trying to sell, you have to understand every single person, they have a pain point. Your job is to identify what is that pain point and then position yourself as the go-to authority expert to help them. So if I go over here now, let's just say creating a Google Doc, okay? A summary of what you have, XYZ. Then we go over here, back to this Lynchpin model that we have, okay? Now, it is a little bit more advanced, but here's how I'm scaling, just so you guys know and you guys can see, is finding other partners, and they have to kind of, go through specific checklists. They have to be charismatic. They have to be, they have to be comfortable getting on camera. I like people that that can get on camera, and they have to have some sort of expertise and experience that they want to monetize. How many of you fit into that category, right? You're like, hey, I've got some experience and expertise. I can help people. I'm not afraid of getting on camera, of creating content. I just don't know how. So guess what I'm doing right now? I'm partnering up. And then what I'm doing is literally just this. I couldn't find a better picture. So those are the pictures. Okay. Literally with guys, ladies and gentlemen, okay, I'm literally just partnering up with them and I'm saying, hey, I will build you this whole thing out and then we split the profits. And in most cases, the client will come in, they'll pay something for the whole thing to be built out, and then we'll split the profits. And I just started doing this with a company probably 3 months ago. Brand new business, brand new business. It doesn't even require my face because I'm using someone else's face, like the person in charge here. And that business, I think, is doing close to about $100,000 a month profit. And it's got now room to scale to about 500K to even $1 million a month by the end of this year. Is that powerful stuff? So you have one system, and once you have that system working, now you can just put other people in. Does that make sense? So let's just say I wanted to get traffic. Maybe you're just starting off and you wanted to get traffic. So here's one of the ways that you can go and get traffic right now. Okay. Now, obviously, for our clients, we do this like because I have thousands and thousands of influencers lists and stuff. But I'm just going to show you guys how this looks. Okay. So this is basically my Instagram profile. And you guys can follow me on Instagram as well. This is actually my Instagram handle. This is the official one. So if you guys want to connect with me, that's the Instagram profile. Okay, so I'll show you how this works. So if I go over here, okay, there you go. So this is the Instagram profile. Now, obviously I have this, which is, funnels. I have some images of who I am, what I do, some videos, whatever. But here's the important part, okay? And this is where the money gets made, ladies and gentlemen. We go over here. I can't open up a lot of these because, okay, I can actually show you. So let's just look at this one. Hey, what's going on? Wondering if you'd be interested in buying advertisement, 7 million followers. How many of you look at other people and they've got millions of followers and you wish that they could shout you out, they could endorse your business, they could do a promotion to your business? By a show of hands. How many of you think you could make a lot more money if somebody with a 5-10 million follower account, boom, shouted you out? How many of you would like to see my process of doing this? Yeah. And by the way, I've done this with influencers, fitness models, whoever has a huge following, especially in the UK, even in US. We'll just find people, build a relationship with them, boom, pay them for a shout out. And it's guys, girls, faceless pages, you name it, we've probably hired them and we've worked with a gazillion people. And it's so crazy. Just imagine this. A girl, a lady, female, over a man, they will spend 5-10 years building their Instagram. Okay. They'll be so perfect in every single picture that they promote, blah, blah, blah. And it gets to 500K, 1 million followers. And you get to tap into their entire database for a few $100. Is that powerful stuff? Okay. This is basically what we do. And I'll show you this. So I message this guy here. How much is your stats? How much do you charge? So I basically said, hey, how much do you charge for your, stories? And then he said, I've got this page, blah, blah, blah. And I said, how much is your stats? How many of your people are in the UK? So now he said, very high engagement. And then boom. So he's got United States, India, and Uzbekistan. Okay. So let's just say he's getting 874,000 people seeing his stories. Okay. Like just in the last 30 days. Now, he's got 14 million views just in the last 30 days. Okay. Awesome. How much do you charge per story and per post? Now, what I'm doing here is I'm sparking up a relationship, asking them how much do they charge. Okay. So now if I go over here, there's a few others. Let me see. There's a lot of people that will message. I try to go through and respond to all the messages myself. And so let's just say Warren Buffett. Okay. Warren Buffett, how much does he charge? Okay. By the way, how much do you guys think he would charge? You think he's going to charge thousands of dollars? Oh, by the way, this is not the real Warren Buffett, okay? But this is just a page. You're not speaking to 85-year-old real Warren Buffett, okay? You're speaking to a fan page. So this guy's got 2.9 million followers, okay? And you can see there's lots of different, like weird content, whatever, okay? I'm not gonna judge. This was just weird. The whole internet is very weird. Anyone else ever feel like that? It's just weird. Okay, you need to just get in, make as much money as you can, help a bunch of people, and then exit out and live on an island or someplace. Go to Dubai or something. Okay, so if I go over here, I asked him, hey, how much do you charge? Blah, blah, blah. You guys can see the scripts, okay? So he's saying I'm saying how much is it for 3 days? Sometimes you have to go back and forth. And these are the main questions. How much do you charge? You want to write this down. Hey, how much do you charge? 2, can you send me analytics of your post? 3, what's the best offer? Literally just 3 questions. Can you guys all ask 3 questions? You're literally just texting in your phone. Okay, texting on your phone. So if we go over here, boom. He goes, I usually charge $300 per day. However, if you want 3 days, I can do 225 per day, story plus post plus link in bio. If you're open to doing weekly, I can drop it down to 200. I use PayPal for payment. Our campaign for ecom XYZ have been our most viral in the last 30 days. Let me know when you want to schedule. Awesome. Send me your PayPal address and let's get one promo on the books. If it goes well, I'm down to do more. How many of you can do something like this? Now you can do this to get more followers. You can get this to do this to get more leads. So I'll just show you. For example, like if I went over here, let's see what one of these promotions are, okay? Some of them are just like weird, so I'm not gonna click on anything that just looks weird, but okay, so what he does, I've just realized, he'll go in and after he promotes, okay, so this one, okay. So this is actually one of my friends. He lives in Dubai. He's a little bit wacky and he lives with his wife in Dubai. And so if you see here, this is his post, yeah? And he's just using this story, whatever this story is of some random 13-year-old girl. And then, boom. Anyone seen this guy before? Okay. He's like one of those crazy guys in Dubai. And again, look at his content that you see here, okay? And what he'll do is he'll then, if you message him, he'll try to sell you on his digital marketing program. He's selling some course on how to do affiliate marketing or something like that. But can you see he's leveraging content like this? Can you guys see this? Okay, all right, some of them is too XXX for me, so I'm not gonna even go bother. All right. Next, how many of you see the power behind this? Okay, so a quick thing, an action step that you guys can do is literally just find 10 to 20 people in your industry, in your niche. They could be faceless. They could be, people that are industry leaders. They could be, for example, models or whoever that you look up to, if musicians or investors, and just start messaging them. If you start with just 10, you're going to see some sort of response. Okay. People will message me on my Instagram. Hey, can we do a collab? Hey, can we do live? They'll ask me for advice. And more often than not, I just, if someone's messaging me, I just respond back and say, hey, XYZ is going on. Or they'll tell me, hey, I'm trying to make 10 grand a month. What's the best funnel? I'm going to give them different advice to someone that will come in and say, hey, I want to make $5 million this year. I'm stuck at 500 grand. What's your advice? And then I'm going to give them different pieces of advice. Was that valuable for you guys? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, type into the chat box if this was valuable. I got one more super advanced tactic to show you guys, and I'm going to finish up because we're going to go over time. Antonio, are we good?
Yes, yes, doing great.
All right. Antonio is going to start doing Instagram shout outs from today. I can just tell from his face.
I'm definitely gonna be watching a lot more of your content because this has been really just amazing.
Yeah. And I'll give you an example. Like, obviously, there's going to be some personal data here, but as you guys get good at this, okay, then you can start building your own database. Okay. So for example, I have a huge database of people that have got, 1 to 5 million followers, 500K to a million, 100K to 500K, 10K to 100K, Snapchat influencers, future targets that I want to do business with, and I've got target list of who I've done business with, who has been good, who hasn't been good, and everything from this lady, some of you will probably know her in the UK. She's kind of famous because she's married to like a big boxing guy, I guess. I don't even know if that's a profile. Okay, it's not working, but basically I have a whole spreadsheet of all of these people. Okay, and then how much do they charge? Like £450. What's the country? UK. So these ones are based on the UK, and these are some of the prices: £200, £400. But just think about this, yeah. Let's just say I went to, let me see if this profile works. If I go over here and type in, okay, this one's not working. Let me see if there is. Oh, I think it's because I've added the at. That's why. So for example, like this lady, she's got 86.9K followers. Okay. And then if I go over here, this lady, she's got 235,000 followers. Okay. And she's basically one of these, like, whatever she does. Excuse me. Okay. There you go. Beauty, skincare, fashion. Okay. And then, and so she will charge, I don't know, maybe £500, $500. Okay. Scroll down, and I will keep a collection. Now, imagine this. Imagine anytime I wanted to make an extra $50,000, an extra $100,000, even an extra $1 million, I can go straight to a list of these influencers, pay them a little bit of money, get them to promote my product or service. Does that make sense? Okay. And guess what? What happens? Imagine now, for example, let's just say I have a huge list of these people. And let's just say Dwayne. Dwayne's on the call. Hey, Dwayne, what's up, brother? Okay, Dwayne's from the UK. He's one of my clients. He's jumped on this call. So let's just say Dwayne is telling me, hey, Shakir, can you help me grow on Instagram? Well, I can say, hey, who's your target market? And let's just say he goes, he wants to attract like females in the UK or whatever. Okay, I'm just making this stuff up as we go. I can just go to him and say, hey, I have this huge database. Do you want me to get you traffic from them? And I can also mark up the price and charge him 10, 20, 30% more. Does that make sense? Do you guys see how, like, you could just take this, switch it into so many different things, right? If you find a beauty influencer and then you find a viral product on TikTok, you can become an affiliate, go to them, promote it, and you make your cut in the middle. Because there's so many ways to skin the cat. So like I said, I'm going to share with you guys one more real advanced tactic. This is probably one of the best things I can share with you guys when it comes to funnels and advanced stuff. Now, this is, if you're brand new, this is going to be overwhelming. But I always like to say, if you're overwhelmed, then you're overpaid. How many of you want to get overpaid? All right. So naturally, obviously, there's going to be stuff that you have to learn. If you knew it, then you don't really be making the money, right? The reason why you're not making your dream income right now is because you don't know what you need to know. And so when new things come along, you could be someone that is like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed and blah, blah, blah. And you go into like a victim. If you're smart enough to be on this call, trust me, you're smart enough to capture these things. Okay. It takes a little bit of time to learn, but it's worth learning, especially if you want to make millions of dollars. Okay. So this is what I call a monster mind map. And I can't share with you exactly every single thing because some of the stuff is sensitive details here. But what I will share with you is if you want, you guys can just take a screenshot of this right now, and hopefully this could help you. Okay, so yeah, take a screenshot of all of this. There you go. Okay, and maybe Antonio, we can like send him an email or something with a link to some of these resources and the slides and stuff. How many of you guys would like that? Okay, if you would like that, just let us know in the chat box and Antonio will get it. So every time I'm looking for a business to grow, I'm always coming in and I'm trying to figure out, can I do more paid ads? There's four things, okay? Paid ads. Can I make more content? So for example, like YouTube, Instagram, all of these things, these are content-based marketing platforms, okay? Now, this should be the number one way every single person, if you're watching this right now, this should be your number one way of getting customers. You got to be producing content, okay? You got to identify what is your customer sucking on, what's their pain points, what's the challenges that they go through, and how do you create content that's going to solve their problems. Does that make sense? So if you're teaching, people how to quit smoking, people do still smoke, right? People vape these days. If you do that, quit. Okay, but let's just say, I'm going to give you personal advice, but whatever. Let's just say you were helping people quit vaping. Okay, now you're going to find top 10 things that people that struggle with vaping, what do they go through? Okay, and use ChatGPT. So for example, like I'll come into ChatGPT and I'll just expand on this and I'll say, I am wanting to target, let's just say Dwayne Nathan Jack. Hey Dwayne. So Dwayne is a guy in the UK who's an absolute beast at helping men overcome drugs and alcohol addiction. Okay. And let's just say I was coming up with content for him. I would say, I am wanting to target CEOs, business leaders, and entrepreneurs that make £1 million plus a year in the UK and Europe, because that's what he would target. And I want to help them get over addiction of drugs and alcohol. Come up with 10 scripts for Instagram Reels that speaks to my ideal clients and gets them to book a call. Boom. Guys, once upon a time, you would have to pay someone like me $4,000 to $6,000 to even 10 grand a month to get copy done. Today you have ChatGPT. Okay, it don't matter what your age is. You're all young enough to use the internet. You're all young enough to learn how to use ChatGPT. So we come over here and Dwayne now has basically 10 scripts. There you go, Dwayne. Okay. Now what you're going to do is you're going to start creating content. What's going to happen with that content? That content is going to be underneath YouTube, Instagram. Let's say Instagram, maybe TikTok as well. So one of the big mistakes people make is they want to be everywhere all the time. Chill out. Okay, chill out. Try to get 1 or 2 platforms dialed in. Okay. Try to get to your first $10,000 to $50,000 a month from 1 or 2 platforms. Ideally, Instagram and YouTube. Maybe you're speaking to kids on TikTok or whatever. Okay, like one of my businesses, we're talking to basically 18-year-old kids, and guess what? We'll use TikTok ads all day long. Okay, but my primary focus would be Instagram and YouTube. Maybe a little bit of Facebook, but Instagram and YouTube you can start with. So you start off with organic. As soon as your organic starts rocking, you want to start adding in paid ads. Okay. And one of the things that we also do is especially if you're selling B2B, business to business, do outreach. Don't be afraid. Like when I started this presentation, I showed you guys how I was able to sell Russell Brunson a $1.3 million domain name. Okay. Why did he pay me $1.3 million cash for a single domain name? It's because I outreach to him, guys. Like, I'm not afraid of, is he not going to respond to me? That, these things don't even cross my mind. And the only way you get over it's like fear of rejection, fear of someone's going to ignore you, is you just do so much. Does that make sense? Okay, you do so much so that you just become almost like you're bulletproof. Like it doesn't affect if someone, like if I message someone and I give them value and I tell them, hey, I charge 10 grand to 100 grand for this service. If they say no, it does not bother me one tiny bit. I'm like, okay, maybe not now, but let's stay in touch, maybe down the line. Does that make sense? When you take it too personally, that's where the challenges come in. That's when you start having all this self-negative talk that you're not good enough, you're not worthy enough, all of these things. So you want to always upgrade your identity. And again, outreach is the third way. And then the last one would be partnership. Okay. This is where, like I told you guys, this is where you can find other people that have expertise. So like I'm always looking for people that have expertise into stuff that I'm not into, right? And I'm only really into like 2-3 things. Everything else, I'm always looking for a great partner. I'm always looking for people that I can work with them and basically help them scale. And if you can add in all 3-4 of these things, okay, like for example, does Ty, let's just say Ty, okay, let's just break down Ty's business model. Does he do paid ads? Do you see his annoying ads everywhere? Yes. Okay, like why do you see that? It's because it works. Do you see his videos everywhere? Organic. He's spending money, and if he's not getting you by spending money, he's producing free, valuable content on YouTube and social media. Does that make sense? Then his team, I'm sure, will do some sort of outreach campaign. Okay, they outreach to me. They sent me a cold email from, I think, Instagram, actually. Yeah, they sent me a message on Instagram, and they basically said, hey, do you want to partner up on this webinar? I have students coming in. Can you come and teach? Can you guys see this? Now, do you see how valuable this is? Let me ask you this question. If Ty is doing it, what's stopping you from doing it? But this is the model. You start with one, okay, content organic, then you go into paid, then you start doing outreach, then you start doing partnerships. And then if you see here, all of these things, you're essentially just breaking down which traffic source, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and then you have this thing called different lead magnets. So sometimes you want to appeal to different people. These are the different types. You can take a screenshot of this if you want, but these are 12 different lead magnets that you can use to get people coming in. So for example, today I'm doing this webinar. How many of you guys have got value from this webinar? I hope so. Okay. I hope so. I think it's supposed to be like 30 minutes or 45 minutes. I think I've gone on for like nearly 2 hours now. Okay. So I do a webinar, I'm over delivering on value. And then I could do maybe a discussion group. I could do a strategy session. I could do all of these things. You have to figure out your prospects. What are they going to respond to? What do they do already? I know my prospects will use Instagram. They use DMs. They use a lot of direct messages on Instagram. They'll be watching YouTube videos. They'll connect on WhatsApp. Okay, so guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to come up with lead magnets, something to give away for free around these topics. Okay, so once we got this dialed in, then we can expand onto the products. Okay, like what kind of products are we selling? How many products are we selling? And then essentially, do we want to add affiliates, referrals, webinars, live workshops, newsletters, community, appointment setters, content, unique mechanisms? Now, some of this stuff is obviously, like I said, guys, this is advanced stuff. This is how you get to $1 million a month and beyond. Okay, but I wanted to just give you the full breakdown. Okay, and a lot of people, they will have a website. You want to upgrade yourself to some sort of funnels, and then having free video content, video testimonials, case studies, and then getting people on a sales call, selling them recurring services and all that good stuff. Okay, so hopefully this was valuable for you guys. This was it's kind of intense, I understand, but like I said, if you want to get overpaid, it's all right to be overwhelmed a little bit. Okay, so guys, I want to wrap it up here now. And if you guys want to get in touch, I'm easy. You can just find me on Instagram, shoot me a message or something, follow me there. And if you just want to learn what I do, go to funnels.com. One word, it's easy. And I will catch up with you guys soon. Hey, there you have it. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe below, leave me a comment, share this with one of your cool friends and family, people that are going to also benefit. And if you'd like to license my proven award-winning funnels and systems into your business, then go ahead to funnels.com/DFY. Come and book a call with myself and my team. Links are in the description below. And like I said before, if you're just starting off and you want to go deep with myself, you like my teaching style, then go ahead to 3daysummit.com and come and join us for a virtual workshop. I host this only once a month. So go ahead, register, and I'll see you then.